Hi there, and welcome back. So today we're going to continue on with our current topics, which is what you really are. And so we're going to hit a little bit about a common phrase that we all know: "You are what you eat." Most of us don't eat a healthy diet, or would like to eat a healthier diet than the one that we are. Um, it is always important to understand that the foods that you consume is the thing that's going to fuel this machine. It's going to be the thing that helps regulate the body and the way that it's going to process everything from your actions and into your moods and into your thoughts. Too many of us think that a lot of what's going on in our lives is all external. But the problem is that most of the things in your life that is shaping your life are not external, they're internal. And this comes back down to the simple fact that this machine that we call our body is really just a chemical factory. Everything that you are going through and that you are experiencing is just a chemical reaction. You like to think that it's something different or something more, but when it comes down to it, it's all just chemical reactions. That's what your organs are doing. They're processing these chemicals and releasing these different chemicals throughout the body to do different functions. Just the liver alone does over 500 functions. It's probably the biggest contributor to the chemicals and chemical reactions throughout the whole system. And it's all based on the foods that you are eating. The foods it has to break down, that it has to process. And most of these foods in today's diet are filled with all kinds of preservatives and words that you can't say. And all of these things are unhealthy. And therefore, then that makes your experience in life and inside the body an unhealthy one. When you look at today's modern diet, it's no wonder that we end up with so many of the diseases that we end up having. Stop and think about this. You know, we've spent most of our lives from the beginning of our existence on one form or another of some form of a drug and didn't even realize it. Most of us have eaten such a high diet of sugars and then salts that we don't even notice what it is that they actually do to the body because we've never actually gone without them. They are actually very powerful things. Same way with caffeine. And the fact of the matter is that we live so much of our life consuming these kinds of things and the chemical reactions that they are having going on inside the body that we don't actually know what life is like without them until we actually have to cut back on them. And that's because of the damage that they have caused through the chemical reactions within this body. You ever try to go and cut sugar completely out? You ever try to cut caffeine out? You'll start to understand what withdrawal is really like, and you'll realize the power and control that these things have had over you. It is so important to understand that the foods that you are consuming is what's regulating everything that's going on in your life. You think so much of it as an external thing, but it's the external things that you are bringing in. You've heard the phrase also most likely about the thing about that person eats their emotions. Well, that's a typical thing because, you know, the foods that you eat is what's going to create that energy. It's going to create the nutrients that's going to feed this system. And in your mind releases all of these other chemicals. Every emotion that you are experiencing, whether it be, you know, from love to hate, to happiness, sadness, those things, they're all just chemical reactions. That's all they are. We like to think that they're moods or their states or whatever, but they are no more than a chemical reaction that's going on in the body. Stop and think about this. There are times when you've been upset or that you are having some trouble and someone will say, well, think of a happy thought. And what they're trying to mean by that is that if you start thinking about a happy thought, then your mind will automatically go back to that time of that thought and it's going to release the exact same chemicals that was released at the point when that event was actually happening. It's going to release the same chemical reactions and flood the body. You gotta stop and think about this. A lot of this stuff and your memories and stuff, it's just like a record that you're putting on and playing. That's like why when you start telling a story about a time somebody made you upset or had done you wrong or whatever, all of a sudden you start getting mad again. Well, that's because you went right back in, you put that record on and started playing it, and your body released that same chemical reaction back throughout the system, and now you've got that all back in there. And this is important to understand. All your emotions are just chemical reactions. And the basis of those chemical reactions, one of the things that contributes to those is the foods that you are eating. It is the diet that you have. It is the exercise that you are getting. Sometimes, it's the medicines that we end up getting prescribed that also will alter our mood. And medicines are no more than chemicals that are creating other chemical reactions within the body. So just keep this in mind, that most things that's going on inside that body that you are experiencing, it's just a form of a chemical reaction. It's just like if you like to have a couple of beers, and then you start getting that little tipsy or whatever. See, what you've done there is you've added in more chemicals into the body, and you have changed that state. And now it's going to start releasing those kinds of chemicals. You're going to start feeling that. It's just such a weird thing that when everything comes down, it's just a chemical reaction that's going on. The mind really has no idea about a past, a present, and a future. These are concepts that we keep trying to hold on to believe in. We worry about the past. We try to live in the moment, and then we worry and stress about what's going to be in our future. But the fact of the matter is the mind has no clue about any of those things. What the mind really does is it guesses. It guesses based upon past experiences. And those past experiences are just chemical reactions that have gone on in the body. Hence the example earlier. When you think about a happy time, you get happy again. You think about a time you were mad, you get mad all over again. It's just a chemical reaction. And you can change that chemical reaction through the different things that you are doing. It's in the foods that you're eating. It's the exercise that you're getting. It's the way that you are perceiving these other things. Your thoughts and memories are all being stored into the cells, and it's just a chemical reaction. That's all it ever is. And this stuff makes you forget about that, and you start focusing too much on the external world. When they talk about, that person or that you are out of balance, this is where you are out of balance. Your chemicals within your body and the way that they are being released and the way that they are being, the way that you are processing things, that is out of balance. And that's what, these other devices, these other chemicals and other things is trying to balance those two things back out to make you to where you are even. For the assignment for this next week or so, I just want you to kind of think about the foods that you're eating and about the exercise that you're getting, and to understand that everything that's going on inside you, it's just a chemical reaction that keeps this machine running. And so anytime that you're starting to feel frustrated or whatever, think of that happy moment, because it's going to release all of that back into you. And try to hold on to that. That'll help shift your view, help shift your mood, help shift you in your life. All of the things that we've talked about in the previous videos are all easy to be able to grab a hold of once you realize what you really are and how all of this is really working, and cut out the noise that the external world keeps trying to give you. And so until next time, Take care.